Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Gateway to the north and one of the fastest growing capitals in Canada. A city outpacing the national population growth for 5 years running. More than 150,000 new residents have called Edmonton home since 2006, contributing to a vibrant metropolis and an increasingly diverse community of citizens, each with unique needs that must be met in order for them to achieve an exceptional quality of life. For a city whose population is on the rise like Edmonton, issues of accessibility become an important consideration, and, to be more inclusive, a new model for how we plan, build, and take care of residents has taken over.
City Council has been, over the years, very responsive. And, all of our policies are directed to ensure that people have good access to facilities. Everybody in the city should have the same and equal opportunities to be able to fulfill the dreams they have and their opportunities they have, independent of what their limitations might be.
To facilitate greater inclusion for everyone, the City of Edmonton, with input from individuals with disabilities and other stakeholders, developed the Measuring Up initiative, providing an easy way for organizations, businesses, individuals, and communities to assess barriers people face and help improve inclusion within their environments. For people like Bryce Clark, a detective with Edmonton's police service, it has meant a return to the work he loves.
I was injured in 2001, and in trying to get back to work, there'd never been, that I was aware of, a quadriplegic police officer that's ever returned to work. One of the things that Edmonton City Police did is they started at ground zero with me and figured out, okay, what can I do? We found there was numerous positions that I could actually work in several different capacities, whether it's from an analytical standpoint or investigations, as I'm doing now. Anybody that's in a wheelchair or has any kind of a disability that requires any sort of accessibility knows it's not the huge barriers, 20-foot staircases, or the fact you can't get into some vehicle. It's the small things that really stop you in your tracks. Door handles too high or too low, where the elevator buttons are, or where the light switches are, and what's in front of the light switch and how high the light switch is. It all makes a huge difference. Those types of things, if people can be more aware, and I think the toolkit will help.
Since an accessible city is a collaborative effort, the Measuring Up Toolkit is available to lead businesses in the right direction and show them the value in becoming open to all residents.
There certainly were some barriers that we found when we were looking over this guide. Some things that you may not necessarily consider. And I think a great example of that, we employ a lot of individuals with hearing impairments. And we found various ways that we can definitely work around any barriers they might have to make them happy and make them successful employees. What to do in the event of a fire evacuation or a fire alarm. We've installed lights in the back room and throughout the store that will flash in the event of any problems. Other things too, like the fonts and signs, making sure it's a nice bold font, not italicized, not too script-like, so very easy to read. That can definitely go a long way, and it's something that we're looking into, and I think something that's relatively easy to improve upon. You need to make sure that you are accessible to everyone, whether they be a person with disability, whether they be an elderly individual that might have a device that assists with their walking, whether it be a recent parent pushing a stroller. It's very important to make sure stores and locations are accessible. Ultimately, I strongly encourage any organization, whether it be a business, whether it be a not-for-profit organization, to start using this Measuring Up toolkit. It's a fantastic place to start.
Right now in Canada, or in Alberta especially, we look for employment. We're looking at hiring people outside of the province or even outside of Canada, whereas we have an untapped resource right here in the cities that are needed for employment. By having businesses, government buildings, and regular private businesses more accessible, it's going to provide a lot of opportunity for anybody with a disability to return to a workplace with very minor modifications required. Accessibility doesn't need to cost a lot of money for people. For the police service to bring me back to work, it was very minor modifications that they had to make to the computers and a desk and stuff like that.
It's a moral responsibility and a social responsibility of all citizens to create opportunities for all of us, no matter who we are, what race, what color, what creed, what abilities we have. Our society should be open and accessible to everybody.